Imagine this. You meet a woman who says all the right things, makes you feel seen, wanted, and alive again. For the first time in years, you feel like someone truly understands you. But slowly, something shifts. The warmth turns distant, the honesty fades, and the charm starts to feel like a mask. That's when you realize she's not in love with you, she's playing you. And by the time you see it, you're already caught in the game. Flattery is one of the oldest emotional traps, and it works because it feeds a man's natural desire to feel admired. When an older man hears a woman saying things like, "You're so mature, I've never met someone like you," or "You're not like guys my age," it can feel refreshing and validating. After all, society often makes men feel invisible as they age, so when someone suddenly makes you feel seen again, it's powerful. But sometimes that flattery isn't coming from a genuine place, it's calculated. It's designed to make you drop your guard and emotionally invest before you even realize what's happening. She learns what words make you light up and repeats them like a melody. Not because she feels them, but because she knows they keep you emotionally hooked. This kind of flattery often comes early, fast, and heavy. She praises you before she truly knows you, building an illusion of connection. It's not real admiration, it's strategy. She might say things that make you feel irreplaceable, but her goal is to make you attach faster than you normally would. Once that emotional hook is in, she subtly begins to guide the dynamic, deciding when to give attention and when to take it away. That's when confusion starts to grow. You start wondering why her warmth suddenly fades or why she's distant after being affectionate. You replay her compliments in your head, trying to understand where things changed. What's really happening is that the flattery was a tool to set the stage, not to build something real. When someone uses praise as manipulation, it's not about love or respect, it's about control. The best way to see through it is to slow down, observe patterns, and notice if her words match consistent behavior over time. Real admiration grows slowly and doesn't need to be performed to keep you interested. Emotional manipulation through sympathy is one of the most subtle yet powerful ways someone can control another person. It often begins with constant stories about pain, betrayal, or hardship. She paints herself as someone who has been wronged by everyone in her past: the ex who didn't value her, the friends who abandoned her, the world that misunderstood her. At first, your instinct is to protect her. You step into the role of the rescuer because that's what good men do. They care, they help, they fix. But over time, this constant need for comfort becomes her way of keeping you emotionally tied to her. You start feeling responsible for her happiness. And that's when sympathy turns into control. Whenever you try to express your own needs or pull back a little, she reminds you directly or indirectly of how much she's been through. It creates guilt. You start to feel like you're the only one who can make her feel safe or valued. And walking away feels like abandoning someone in pain. That's exactly how emotional manipulation works. It keeps you locked in by your own kindness. You begin excusing behaviors that you wouldn't normally tolerate simply because you don't want to hurt her feelings. She might cry when you set boundaries, withdraw affection when you disagree, or use phrases that make you feel cold for standing your ground. Slowly, the relationship stops being about mutual care and turns into a cycle of emotional dependence. You give, she receives, and the balance disappears. The truth is, genuine connection doesn't require one person to carry the other's emotional weight all the time. When sympathy is real, it brings two people closer. But when it's used as a tactic, it drains your strength and makes you forget your worth. Emotional manipulation through sympathy may look like love, but it's built on guilt, not connection. When affection starts depending on what you give, that's the moment you need to pay attention. Some women learn to use a man's generosity as a measuring tool for control. It begins innocently with small requests or hints about her lifestyle. Maybe she admires your car, compliments your success, or says she's never been treated the way you treat her. You feel proud to offer something nice because giving feels natural, especially when you care. But soon you start noticing that her warmth appears strongest right after you give and fades when you stop. It's not about gratitude anymore, it's about transaction. The dangerous part is how it blurs emotional boundaries. You start believing that your effort, gifts, or financial help are the reasons she stays close. You tell yourself it's love, but deep down you sense the shift. Conversations revolve around what you can provide rather than who you are. She might not demand anything directly. She simply creates situations that make you feel responsible for her comfort. Maybe she talks about financial struggles, missed opportunities, or how past partners never did enough for her. And right when your protective instinct kicks in, you become her solution. That's the moment she realizes her power. Soon, your value becomes tied to what you do, not who you are. When she praises you, it's often linked to your actions. How you helped her, what you bought, or how you made things easier for her. That's not love, that's conditioning. She's training you to keep giving, not from affection, but from fear of losing her attention. It's a cycle that quietly drains your energy and confidence, making you believe that generosity is the only way to keep her close. Real affection doesn't come with price tags or tests. If she only shows love when you're spending, she's not connecting with your heart. She's connecting with your wallet. Hot and cold behavior is one of the most confusing emotional patterns a man can experience. One day she's warm, affectionate, and deeply interested in you, and the next she's distant, distracted, or suddenly unavailable. It's a cycle that keeps you guessing, constantly trying to figure out what changed. You start thinking maybe you said something wrong or didn't give enough attention. But in reality, this inconsistency isn't always accidental. It's a deliberate emotional game that keeps you chasing her validation. The highs feel incredible because they come after moments of doubt, and that contrast makes you crave her approval even more. When she's in the hot phase, she'll make you feel like the center of her world. She texts constantly, compliments you, and gives you affection that feels real. It makes you believe the connection is deep and special. Then, without warning, she cools off. Her replies slow down, her tone changes, and suddenly you're left questioning what went wrong. This emotional withdrawal isn't about needing space, it's about control. By pulling away, she triggers your anxiety, making you want to do more just to bring back that warmth. You try harder, give more, and start losing balance in the process. This pattern keeps repeating because it works. Every time she pulls away, you chase, and when she comes back, you feel relieved, like you've earned her attention again. It trains you to accept uncertainty as normal and confusion as part of love. But this isn't connection, it's conditioning. The emotional roller coaster keeps you invested even when the relationship lacks stability or trust. Real connection doesn't need constant proof or dramatic shifts in energy. When someone truly values you, their affection remains steady, not something you have to earn over and over. Hot and cold behavior isn't passion. It's manipulation disguised as unpredictability, keeping you emotionally dependent on temporary highs that never lead to real peace. When someone starts making you doubt your own memory, perception, or decisions, it's a clear sign of manipulation. This tactic is meant to quietly break your confidence so you start relying on her version of reality instead of your own. It often begins in small ways. Maybe she denies saying something you clearly remember, or she claims you misunderstood her tone. At first, you brush it off, thinking it's just miscommunication. But over time, these small moments add up. You begin second guessing yourself, wondering if you really did miss her or overreact. That's how the control begins, not with force, but with confusion. She might twist facts during conversations, changing details to fit her story, or claim you're being too sensitive when you express concern. When you start questioning your memory, you stop trusting your judgment. This is exactly what she wants because once your confidence weakens, you become easier to influence. Instead of standing firm, you begin to apologize for things you didn't do just to avoid conflict. You try harder to please her, thinking that if you just stay calm and agreeable, things will get better. But they don't because confusion is the point. The more uncertain you become, the more power she gains. This behavior can make even strong men feel drained and emotionally unstable. You start living in constant doubt, wondering whether you're the problem. The truth is, healthy relationships never make you question your sanity or worth. Real understanding allows space for honest disagreement without fear or guilt. When someone uses confusion as a weapon, they're not trying to connect, they're trying to dominate. That's why it's important to trust your instincts and notice the pattern early. If you constantly feel like you're walking on eggshells or that reality changes depending on her mood, it's not love. It's a strategy designed to keep you unsure of yourself and completely dependent on her approval. Losing self respect is one of the final stages of emotional manipulation, and it rarely happens all at once. It begins when you start compromising small parts of who you are just to keep the peace. Maybe you stop expressing your opinions because you don't want to upset her, or you let her make decisions that go against your values because you're afraid of losing her. Over time, these small sacrifices pile up until you hardly recognize yourself. You used to have clear boundaries, but now those lines feel blurry. You start justifying her behavior, telling yourself that every relationship has problems, even when deep down you know it's more than that. This slow erosion of self respect happens because manipulation feeds on guilt and fear. She may use emotional pressure to make you believe that standing up for yourself is selfish or unkind. When you finally try to speak up, she might turn it around, making you feel like you're the one who's overreacting or being unfair. Eventually, you begin questioning your right to set limits. You become more focused on keeping her happy than protecting your own peace of mind. That's how control replaces connection. The hardest part is realizing how much power you've given away without noticing. You start walking on eggshells, avoiding anything that might cause conflict. You stop prioritizing your goals, your time, and your happiness. You start living reactively, adjusting yourself to her moods instead of following your own sense of direction. But real love doesn't demand that you shrink yourself to fit someone else's comfort. Respect, both given and received, is what creates balance. When you lose it, everything else falls apart. The moment you feel like you have to silence your voice or lower your standards to keep someone close, that's the moment you've stopped honoring yourself. And no connection is worth that price. In the end, every older man must remember that experience is your greatest strength, but only if you trust it. The truth is, no woman who genuinely cares for you will make you doubt your worth, question your sanity, or tie her affection to what you give. Real love doesn't confuse, control, or drain you. It brings calm, respect, and consistency. When someone plays emotional games, their actions will always reveal more than their words. You don't need to argue, chase, or prove your value. You only need to recognize the pattern and step away. Walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's choosing peace over chaos, dignity over drama, and truth over illusion. Because the moment you stop letting someone play you, you stop being a victim and start being the man who knows his